Welcome to CUNTY Life and Biz Realness, the uncensored show that explores how to live your truest life, what tries to get in the way, and how to grow your business as a result. I know you want to be more courageous, unapologetic, notable, transcendent, and authentically you, and you're in the right place, babe. I'm your host who's the most, Naomi, CEO and head life and biz authenticity coach at CUNTY Coaching. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to CUNTY Realness. Today, we are going to be talking about the CUNTY decision to change your environment. Now, if you heard the episode from last week, it was all about the CUNTY decision to get on the plane, right? And this week, we're going to go a little bit deeper into that and talk more about what may happen or why things may happen when you change your environment. I recently came back from my month-long North America tour. It was partly for the Hello 7 Coaching Intensive in Atlanta, which was fabulous, as predicted. It was incredible, and I turned 30, which was it was the best birthday I have ever had. And that says a lot. It topped my birthday last year, which was a drag-themed birthday. This year, we went, a couple of us, to a lesbian bar and danced and sang our hearts out. And I just felt so free, so liberated. It was absolutely incredible. I will not forget that ever. So shout out to the incredible folks who took me out and celebrated me and my humanity with me, and celebrated themselves, because it takes a lot of celebrating ourselves to actually get up on a stage and sing karaoke in front of complete strangers. That was the first part of my trip. There was lots of learning, lots of connecting, lots of energy and photos and sharing and connecting and networking and being inspired by incredible speakers and by each other. It was really just, it fuels my whole soul to go to these events and be there in my fullness. And if you want to learn more about getting on the plane to go to events like this and leaning into the trust and the faith behind that, please do go give the previous episode a listen. It was the CUNTY decision to get on the plane. And I will link that in the show notes for you. Now, today, we're going to go deeper into how to change your environment when the energy and behavior and attitudes around you aren't so fabulous and they feel toxic, they feel uncomfortable, they're spiking your nervous system and putting alarm bells off and triggering your intuition to say, this isn't suiting me, because that is the unfortunate truth that it can happen. Sometimes we see it coming, but other times we don't, right? So when I went to Canada to visit family and friends, because I was born and raised in Canada, it really became evident to me how much I've grown and changed in the year since I've moved to Portugal. It just made a year. I should be celebrating that. I really, really realized how much and how obvious the change has been, because I was in situations where I was visiting with family or friends and I noticed a discomfort that would arise. And this is a super, super common and natural phenomenon, especially if you're on a personal growth journey, which all of us entrepreneurs, I can confidently make that generalization. We are on a personal development journey. This journey is not for the faint of heart, and there is so much growth and development that we undergo, even if we don't expect to, on this entrepreneurial journey. It's something to keep in mind about when you do get on the plane and you do go on trips and everything. It's really important to be mindful of the environment around you, the behavior, and the attitudes. And if they are feeling toxic to you, if they are not feeling in alignment with your truth, then I want to encourage you to set boundaries. Even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not what people are used to from you. Okay, for example, I've always been a people pleaser and a peacekeeper. I don't know if you can relate to those roles that we play, especially if you were socialized to be docile and compliant and a people pleaser and peacekeeper, which I certainly was. Which is so funny because if I had not been, then I don't know that I would ever be driven to go completely the opposite and create this cunty brand, because I've learned how suppressed I've been throughout my lifespan. Before I embarked on this cunty journey, I realized how much that previous version was not serving me. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping you and helping other feminist entrepreneurs step further and further and further into and deeper into our truth. And it is not easy. I will say this again and again. It is not an easy thing. If it is easy for you, then I am so happy about that. Like, that means that this mission is working. It's a collective effort, but I'm here to talk to the people who need and want more inspiration in this category, right? So this might come in the form of, if you're staying with a friend or a family member in their house. That's what happened to me. The environment that I was living in for the time being became obvious that it was not healthy for me to be there. I did not feel celebrated. I did not feel unconditionally loved. There's certain things that once you know how those things do feel, like when you're in an environment that people do unconditionally love you and they do support you and they do celebrate you in all your cunty truth and uniqueness, it becomes apparent when the opposite is what's happening. And that reinforces really how important it is to get on the plane to those events where you do feel like, and you do know where that's going to be the reality, because it galvanizes you and it shows you what is possible. And then it shows you that when you're not in those spaces and you're not in alignment, it shows you that you deserve better and that you can have better for yourself. So that really pushed me to realize what was going on, because it took a little bit of time to realize that my stress levels were higher. I felt like I was stepping on eggshells a little bit in the environment. And so eventually you pick up on it. And my hope is that after you listen to this episode, that next time you're in an environment like that, and the next, and the next, and hopefully there aren't too many, but when you are, I hope that it takes less and less time between you experiencing whatever it is that's making you not feel 100% your best self, and to when you set a boundary or enforce a boundary and change your environment. That's the goal, is to spend less and less time in self-betrayal mode. That's really what it is you choose to prioritize, let's say, other people, other people's comfort, other people's satisfaction or happiness above your own. So I made the decision. Unfortunately, it did take a kind of like culmination and like a breaking point, but I did make the decision to put my own needs and the needs of my daughter above the comfort and the needs of those around me. And this is incredibly cunty. It's incredibly courageous to do this, to say, I am a full ass human being worthy of the utmost respect and celebration, and not just simply being tolerated in a space, because I am so familiar with that feeling from when I was growing up. And I actually want to be in a space where I feel celebrated. And it's really courageous to look people in the eye and say, I need to choose a different reality, because people get really offended and their egos get bruised. And it's incredibly courageous and unapologetic and notable to decide that you're going to put your needs first. And it's also transcendent because it defies all expectations, all former limitations and expectations that we're supposed to be just nice and put up with everything and keep the peace and be amicable and all of these things that keep us stuck and keep us small and keep us silent. And then it's so transcendent to say, no, I'm actually going to break through these barriers, break through the discomfort and the social backlash that will occur and the confrontation that will occur to actually put my ultimate peace above all of that. And it's the most authentic act you can do, is to look deep within yourself and put your own needs front and center. And in the case of being a parent, if your needs and your child's needs are in alignment, then that's even more reason to do it. So that's what I did. I looked for alternative places to stay, and I had to deal with the discomfort of this, because I'm telling you, this is so against how I was raised and how I've been socialized and taught, because I was taught that family comes before everything else and blood is thicker than water and all of these things that are really meant to suppress us, honestly. And yes, I do love family dearly, dearly, dearly. And I'm not saying that you should not. What I am saying is that both can be true. You can love your family members, and you can set and enforce boundaries that keep you safe and well and energized and positive and optimistic and everything that you desire to be in this world. You deserve to be it in all the spaces that you're in. So that's what I did. And despite the discomfort and the backlash and the disappointment that I faced from others, my nervous system felt completely relieved. Like I could actually breathe more freely and calmly when I changed my environment. And that was so crazy to me that I actually noticed my breathing changing. I'm literally catching my breath, like as if I just ran a marathon. That's wild. So, next time, it's going to be easier and it's going to take less time for me to notice when I'm in a situation like that and change it. Obviously, I'm not going to put myself in this exact same situation again, right? We learn, but it's inevitable that we will encounter certain situations as we move through this world that wasn't built for us. The systems that are upheld, they're not made for us, right? So it makes sense that we are going to encounter these situations. And it is so incredibly cunty and radical for me to come on here and talk about this today. The fact that I can even come on here and talk to you about this today just makes me so happy. And it heals my inner child, who she always knew that she was made for greatness, and yet people wanted to dim her shine, wanted to put her in a box, wanted to stifle her and quiet her and all of these things. It's incredible to me that I get to come on here and talk about this with you. And guess what, babe? I created a resource just for you that accompanies this episode, and you can grab that in the show notes. You're so welcome. Another example of changing your environment is moving. Like moving your where you live. So in my case, last year, I moved from Canada to Portugal. That is a huge undertaking because I had lived in Canada my whole life in the same province of Ontario. And now in my 29th year, well, last year in my 29th year, I was here in Portugal finally after the pandemic had held me hostage. And my gut, my intuition just had like a massive hit or download or inspiration, whatever you want to call it, that I belonged here. I didn't want to go back. I wanted to stay and stay permanently and discover and live and eat and breathe this beauty. And my ancestors are also from here. I don't know how far back the lineage goes. That'll be a project for the future. But I knew that I needed to be here. And as I am here now, I'm learning more that my mission and my assignment, so to speak, is to heal some of the generational trauma and the ancestry of my witches in my family that were criticized and put down and who knows what else. And the women, the powerful women who were silenced and suppressed and oppressed. I want to heal them as well through my work. But I didn't know this all at the time. I just knew that I had this huge guttural reaction that I really wanted to be here and that my work, this is the thing too, I did know that my work was going to excel here. I had no idea what that meant. At the time, I was a doula. And I didn't know what the work would look like here, but I knew that it needed to happen and that massive expansion would occur if I was here. Which blows my mind now with hindsight because that intuitive hit was so bang on. It's unreal to me. It's so wild. And I'm so glad I followed this gut instinct. I went back and I told my partner because at the time he had already gone back and I had stayed behind a little bit with my daughter to enjoy a little bit more. And I got back and I told him about this, which that's a cunty decision in itself. It takes a lot to confront your partner, your long-term committed partner that you want to change countries. Especially, he was not a digital nomad at the time. His job was very much localized there. He was a pilot, and so you can't even use your license in different countries. Like you have to re-license all this stuff. So it was a big shock, and it took a bit of time for him to come around, but he came around big time, which is great. Fantastic, absolutely phenomenal because now he is living his best life as well. And that makes me so happy that he trusted me and he followed my lead when I knew that it was going to be incredible for our whole family. Not just me, I knew that it would be incredible for our family because I'm very connected to my little family. We're a trio. We are three musketeers. We are in everything together. And I knew it was going to be so good for us. Portugal is a very incredible place for children and families to be. So I just knew. And yes, I can confidently say now, looking back, it was absolutely positively the correct decision because I notice I've been back to Canada on this trip and I see so clearly why I was not thriving back there. And then I step foot on this soil I step foot on this sand, I go put my feet in the ocean water, and I am reminded, it comes flooding back to me, how complex the universe was behind this decision. There are so many factors, both macro and micro, that go into my thriving here. But we don't know that. We don't know all of those factors. We don't know all of the things that are conspiring behind these intuitive hits. But what we do know is that we have a choice. When these inspirations come, we have a choice to entertain them or to stifle them. I just want to encourage you to get curious if you've been gifted with these intuitive nudges. If you have received anything like this, specifically in the form of changing your environment, moving countries, please reach out to me. Let's talk about it. I'd love to coach you through the process because it is a big undertaking. It is wild. Again, you're going to disappoint some people who love you and want to be close to you. And you're choosing your happiness, your thriving, your well being, your success, everything. You're choosing it to be front and center in your own life. And that is the key. It is your life, it's not their life. Yes, their life is impacted, but you have to live your life for you first and foremost. Here's the kicker, too. When you're doing that, people around you will benefit. You will benefit people around you. Yes, there will be people that you have to leave behind, but it's not like you'll never see them again. You will. And you will make that time valuable as possible. But when it comes to where you're living day to day, from the moment you open your eyes in the morning, what surrounds you, right? Is there light pouring in your window? Are the skies blue? Are the birds chirping? Is it quiet? This is just my reality, right? Your reality, whatever makes you happy, will be completely up to you. But till the moment you close your eyes at night and everything in between, it is so impactful on your well-being, your success, your life, and it is your decision. That's the biggest thing that I want to drive home, is it is within your capability, it is within your power, it is available and possible to you. You just have to go for it and get curious and start learning. Look into it. Start finding people who you can connect with. I'd love to connect with you if this is on your heart, or it has been, or you've been curious or thinking about something like this. Our gut has so much wisdom and knowledge. It's really insane. It always humbles me that our mind is not the be all end all, okay? There is so much beauty in the environment around us, universe, our gut instincts, magic. If we're open to it, there's so much for us to explore there. And now I'm here in Portugal, changing generational patterns. And I had a conversation recently, and I'm sure I'll do another podcast episode on this at some point. I had a conversation when I was in Atlanta with a friend from the Bear Life Coaching from Susan Hyatt that I did this year, Melinda. And we were talking about our ancestors. And I said to her, you know, I don't even know what my ancestors would think of me. I'm not confident that they would be applauding me right now or celebrating me. Like, I think of them and I think, oh my God, what would they think? Like, I go really against the norm. There's so many ways that I'm doing things differently than they might have. And I'm thinking of my grandmothers specifically, right? But I have to think further back. And Melinda told me, if they are upset, what if it's because they're grieving what they didn't get to have, or what they didn't have the courage or the capacity or capability or safety to do. So if they're grieving that, that might be what you're feeling if you're thinking that they might be questioning you. And that's such a beautiful reframe because it can help me believe that they wanted this too. This mission that I'm on to help liberate us, liberate feminist folks and entrepreneurs specifically, I love to believe that they wanted this for themselves too. And they might grieve that they didn't have this, but I do believe that they are celebrating me and cheering me on. And I just want you to know that that's always available to you. To change your environment, you can also tap in to what your ancestors might have wanted but didn't get to have that you can have. It's powerful. And I think I'm absolutely meant to be here. And I'm actually physically living in the same area of Portugal where my both lineages, my maternal and my paternal, lived. So very cool, very groundbreaking. I'm here in a very different way. I'm living out my truth. I'm helping to liberate others. I'm helping break up the status quo. And a lot of Portuguese people love the status quo, love how things are, and don't really embrace change very readily. And I'm here to inspire change. And I'm here being authentically me and being in my body and not changing my body to fit social standards. And that is a huge deal here because people are very beholden to social standards and gender norms. So it does feel a little bit nerve-wracking, or a lot nerve-wracking, but this is all part of my journey. And I've really enjoyed pivoting and building my business here. Like I said, I was a doula last year. Even this year, in the beginning of January, if you had asked me what I did, I would say I'm a doula. Even though I wasn't practicing it, that was what I identified with. And being here and going to the things that I have gone to this year, but I've stepped into my true role as a coach. And I'm creating incredible experiences with my retreat that's happening in Portugal next year. I can't wait to host people here. And that was another thing that I was excited for when I had that intuitive hit was I can't wait to host people here. It's a beautiful country. And I've been gifted with citizenship and lineage from here. And I want to share what I know and what I experience here and what I know is possible with my fellow feminist entrepreneurs. It's a safe country. It's LGBTQ friendly in the hotspots specifically where we're going to be. And it's open. I know that because I fly in the face of standards. And I have not once felt unsafe or unloved or unsupported. And that's incredible. The only thing I've had to deal with is my own limiting beliefs and my own fear. But I have not had to deal with hatred from anyone. And that is so powerful. That is such a powerful reason to change your environment. If you feel hatred or deal with hatred or feel unsafe, it's okay to want to change your environment. You don't have to put up with that. I just want to leave you with that and just offer it as a thing to get curious about and open to if you want. This has been another episode of CUNTY Realness. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much for listening to Cunty Life and Biz Realness today. Someone in your circle needs to hear this. Can you share it and leave a review on Apple Podcasts so this Cunty movement can grow? And don't forget to tag me on Instagram at Naomi_authentically. I appreciate you so much and cannot wait to connect with you. You can always head over to cuntycoaching.com to work with me, join my events, my Cunty email chronicles, and more. I hope you have a fulfilling week, and I can't wait to talk to you next week. This is your Cunty coach, Naomi, signing off.